This is a Bachmann VBB box van, and it's in the BR Bauxite livery, and this is the first of 3 bits of rolling stock that I'd like to cover in this month's Dave's Model of the Month feature. This is a weathered factory finish wagon that has been given an enhanced level of weathering by the Model Centre, and they've picked out or increased the level of grime and weathering on the areas around these details. They've also picked out increased weathering on the vertical panel lines and also the horizontal panel lines down the side. The detail on the underframe has been given a dull down with some tones of rust and general sleeper grime and dirt. If we turn around the ends, turn it into the light, you'll see the buffers have been also weathered to enhance them with some rust rings and the grease in the middle. And it's just been given a general overall dulling down from the standard Bachmann finish, which is actually pretty reasonable, but this just, I think, takes it to a more realistic level. It's my first weathered piece of rolling stock, and I decided to go for some box vans and open wagons in this finish because coaches stay relatively clean because they're washed, but wagons don't. So I decided that from now on the freight stuff that I do buy will have some form of weathering on it. And I have to say I'm really quite impressed with the work that the Model Centre carried out. This is one of their stock wagons. It costs just over £25, which isn't bad. It's only like maybe £4 or £5 over the standard one, and that's including all the work that they've done. This is a medium level of weathering that they've put on. You get the option of a light, heavy or medium finish, but I went for the standard medium, which is what they stock as well as their standard weathered items. So yeah, I got this from them last week. I got 2 of these, and they'll go with the next box fan that I'm going to show you. The second piece of rolling stock that I'm going to cover is the Bachmann VAA box van, and this comes in the red grey Railfreight livery, and it also is a factory weathered finish, but again it's been enhanced by the Model Centre. On this one you see it's got nice underframe weathering detail with some rust and general sleeper grime and frame dirt. It's got a nice detailed weathered finish roof, which I'll come to in a moment, but I like this bit here. It's been debranded from the Railfreight, so they've painted it over recently in the new red, if you like, and it compares and contrasts nicely with the faded red from the other parts of the wagon. And that's quite a neat touch, actually. I do like that. Turning it around the side, it's standard Model Centre weathering fare. They've really gone to town on the buffers and general grime around about the couplings and some build up of almost sooty deposits there on the, I'm assuming that's a vent. These wagons aren't sprung buffered. You don't really need them, to be honest with you. The Hornby hoppers that I've got have got sprung buffers, but to be honest with you, you don't really use them. So yeah, these aren't sprung, but a nice piece of grease and grime on the buffer heads there. The finish on the roof, I'll turn it around. The finish on the roof is actually quite clever from Bachmann. You'll see that it's got a speckled finish, and the lines in the roof there, the seams have been picked out nicely, and it's kind of got a kind of rusty, grimy, kind of speckled finish on it that extends down to the sides on this kind of red stripe here. And I think what the Model Centre have done is just given it a further dusting of grime and roof dirt. And I have to say, it is good. I think Bachmann brought out, I think it was Mark IIA coaches with the weathered roof recently, with the faded blue and grey paint, and it's got the kind of almost the peeling felt effect on the roof from the Mark IIs. This is very similar the way they've done it. I'm actually quite impressed with what they've done. In standard weather fare from factory finish, it is actually reasonably good, but again I just think it looks better when it's been toned down even further, and it's a less of a uniformed weathering finish when the Model Centre do it. Again, this is a medium weathering level. You can opt for a heavier weathering or a lighter coat on this. This is one of the standard in stock wagons that they keep. There was 5 in stock when I went on, and I bought 4 of these, but if you run out they always kind of replenish their stock. But if you wanted it custom finish, you could buy it pristine or out of the box, if you like, on their website, and ask for a weathering finish. And it took around 3 days to get to me, but I think if you want it weathered it'll take about a week, which is still pretty good service, I have to say. The third item I'm going to cover is the OBA Open Wagon, and this is also a Bachmann product. And again it comes in the grey and red Railfreight livery. This time it's got its branding still in place as opposed to the box van which had it painted over, and this model comes from Bachmann in pristine condition. It's not pre-weathered. I've asked the Model Centre to do the weathering for me on this one, and they have done a good job. It's got some nice grime and frame dirt along the bottom there. They've picked out some of the panels nicely. Inside is quite a nice kind of worn wood used look, which I'm quite impressed with. I bought 3 of these wagons to go with the box vans in a kind of mix and match rake, and round the end again I've had the buffers picked out and some general wear and dirt along the lower parts of the ends. Right, so I'm quite chuffed for this one as well, and it runs well. I'll try and feature these wagons in my running session, which follows this feature. So I've got 3 of these, 4 of the Railfreight box vans, and 2 of the ones in BR Bauxite livery. So that gives me a kind of medium to short rake of, in mixed freight, if you like, just as a kind of variation to the coal hoppers that I've got so far. I will be getting the coal hoppers weathered at some stage, or weathering them myself, but as I say, it was just nice to get some weathered freight stuff to run behind anything from a class 26, 27, 37, 47, 58, 56. I've got a lot of locos that can pull this stuff. Obviously the loco's not being weathered just now, but one step at a time. But yeah, the Model Centre, I would recommend you have a look at what they do. Certainly I wouldn't hesitate in sending a locomotive down to them to custom weather if I did get to that stage. That's slightly more expensive than paying an extra £4 for a weathered finish on this wagon, but when to factor in buying all the paints and practising on other old wagons, I thought the quickest way to get something just now, whilst I've not got really the confidence to start weathering rolling stock just yet, I thought this will do in the medium term, just to get me some weathered stock on the layout. If anyone else has got these wagons, and you've had any, or if you've had any stuff done by the Model Centre, please post your comments and tell me what you think of their work, especially if you've had a diesel locomotive weathered from them. How hardy and how hard wearing is their weathering? It feels quite good, although I noticed that you can actually take the paint off the kind of plastic coupling here easier than you can elsewhere, so I don't know if it's maybe the type of plastic they've used when they made the wagons. Might not take a paint finish as well, but I say it's fine just now. Hope you enjoyed this feature, and there'll be some more reviews next month. Okay, I was asked by a member of RMWeb to talk more about the intercity coaches. Now, the one on the right is the Hornby Mark II E1 that's just come out. I think it was November they came out, and I said at the time, the colour on the intercity is slightly different from Bachmann's intercity colour. And what I mean by that is the lower beige, intercity beige colour there, is slightly more yellowy on the Hornby offering on the right as to the Bachmann offering on the left, as you can see with the first class Mark 1 there. I'll get a bit closer, hope you can pick that up. This is slightly more brown, dull, whereas this more yellow, bright. What one is closer to the truth? I wouldn't like to say. I have been critical of Hornby's colours in the past, but they seem to be better than they were, especially on the Mark IIDs. They were really custardy yellow, whereas the Mark IIEs and the latest Mark III coaches, the intercity they brought out, do appear to be better. Sometimes they actually almost had a kind of greeny tinge to them as well, but there's the comparison in the lower side colours from the two major manufacturers, and I like them both. Obviously when I get the Bachmann Mark IIFs, when I get them, 2016 at the earliest I think is what BRM are predicting. They'll match this, I'd like to think, perfectly, so I'd manage to mix and match my Mark 1s and my Mark IIFs easy, because they've got the same colour. I've got a Mark 1 restaurant car and a full brake, which was often seen with the Mark IIs, and obviously it'd be nice to have it that they're all matching the colour there. So there's the two comparisons. If you now bring in the Lima offering, I can get that back a touch. There is the intercity stroke ScotRail beige colour on that. Now, it was a slightly different shade, but it's the closest I've got to the Lima version of the intercity kind of 1980s beige colour. It's more of a grey cream, but again it still looks good. I am assuming that the intercity 125 coaches in this livery, obviously with the red stripe, have used the same paint job at the bottom here. I don't have any, so I can't really comment, but what I'd say is in their own right they all look good. Which one's closest to the truth kind of fades with memory, because we've not seen these liveries on the rails now for, well, since the mid-90s, late 90s, since privatisation started to phase them out and they started to get repainted. So we're kind of calling from our memories and from photographs. So there's the three in comparison, and I hope that's answered the question that I was asked. Okay, I've come back up to the proposed Fiddle yard area. In my May update 1, I said that I'd bring the two lower lines from the sidings, the hidden sidings, round here, and they would branch into 6 storage lines coming to around here, which is around about 1.5 meters. I've since looked at the second radius curves using my bits and pieces of set track that I've got, and actually the curve of the track in second radius, which is as much or as little as the coaches and HSTs and locomotives can handle. So I'm going to have to use the second radius, which will come round there, and it'll actually go to here. So both lines will come in here, which actually has opened up a bigger prospect for me, because what I can do is I can put a board of ply here, and it goes all the way along to here. So I've basically got 4 meters to here, plus 600 I'll need extended out here, just on a kind of shelf if you like, and that's where the curve will go round, and it will go into the tracks in there once I've obviously removed this and extended it out. So that is the plan, which actually has come to me in a kind of inspirational moment. I thought, wait a minute, why can't we bring the 2 in here, and then 2 tracks coming here, branching to 3, branching to 4, then we'll see we cut out there for around this downpipe thing. But from this pipe, you know, the sky's the limit. It's got 2.5 metres from here to that other truss, the very end there, and then I could have, well, that's 560. I could have up to 8 lines, 6 to 8 lines there, branching out. So the longest ones will be 2.5 metres. So if I use this space wisely, I can maybe 3 or 4 lines at this stage, and then branching out in a kind of fiddle yard formation. And because it's sitting here, I can just come under the baseboard from behind me and just, you know, alter the trains, make up the rakes, flick all the points by hand. Nothing's out of reach now, so I don't have to wire up any of the points, which is a godsend, because with the big fiddle it'll cost me, you know, maybe another 10 turnouts, that's wiring, etc., accessory switches. So I only need to actually wire them if I was not able to access it, but because I can access it, I'll just do all the controlling here, and all I have to do is turn round, and I've got my layout behind me, and I don't have to change any of this. This is obviously the backboards, back seams. This can stay open, and I can reach in here. So I'm pricing, I've got a bit of ply on order, cut into strips between the trusses. I've got my dressed pine 4 metre length, or just above 4 metres. They'll go out. I might have to extend out a little bit more to get the curve round, and they'll go into there. Voila. You know, hopefully anyway. So it's looking more promising for a larger fiddle yard.